And here they are, nice fist bump. This will be a tense one. Federico, as mentioned, has been smashing throughout the competition and is now left only against the best matchup he can face.
Yeah, definitely. I think Federico, we have seen him playing this weekend throughout a lot of Tearlaments decks, and as you mentioned, he also beat very recognized and accomplished players, and he is prepared to play against Tearlaments, honestly. His deck is built very well, plays the thrust in his main deck.
And he starts with the Unicorn, so great start here by Federico. That alone would be enough to combo through. Let's see if there is a response by Christopher. Doesn't seem like it's the case, at least for now, which is great news for Italian players. And he gets the birth, which could signal that he already is holding the Theosis. And yeah, we were honestly impressed by Federico play. And if I have to be completely honest with you, he isn't that known in the Italian community. So to see a player play this smoothly, it's quite a surprise. And he's, as mentioned, just smashing the competition. And I think his deck list is the most unique Kashtira version, with the copies of Trust in the main deck and a lot of clutch one-offs, such as one evenly matched, which looks random, but when you play 3 copies of Trust, it makes so much sense. Yeah. So great stuff by Federico.
Yeah, we have been discussing this so far this week, and that Trust, it's such a key card that gives you access to all your one-offs, and also has the set rotation, which I think I really like, also playing the Necro Valley just in case.
Yeah, Necro Valley, Metaverse, as mentioned, very unique deck list, but it just makes sense, I think. Yeah. Because all of these one-off are accessible whenever you need them. And as you can see here, Federico is starting things off really strong here with the Sangrira. Let's check real quick just what kind of interruptions Christopher might be holding in his hands outside of the Avnis, I would say.
To answer your question, just the Avnis, maybe the
maybe
Herald of Orange Light that we have seen a lot of times so far this weekend.
I would say we would have seen it on the Unicorn, right? So this is the solid opening that we have seen Federico do time after time again.
And here comes the Avnis that will mill 3.
This is crucial. Let's see this mills from Christopher. If it's a whiff, it might look like it, and it's still early to tell. Let's see these other 2 mills, because he hits the Tearlament Kashtira. So we might see some additional milling, and this is, first of all, gonna banish a few cards from the top of his deck, and then in a new chain, we'll get to see something else being sent from the top. Let's see, both players really focused. They're gonna choose a zone to basically make not accessible by LeBlanc. And yeah, they're just debating the chain order here. One of the decks, we can say, that LeBlanc is maining is the 1 copy of the Tearlament Meta Noise in the main deck. But let's see these 2 mills. Oof!
Wow.
And he does hit the Kelbeck. He needed to hit something good, and this was definitely one of the best cards. So LeBlanc getting slightly lucky here, we can say, but it's still hard to tell. This is still completely doable, and let's see what he's gonna get through this. So the thing is, now you have the big bang.
Yeah. And here I'm thinking that basically what you really want to go for is to banish the Kid Colors of your opponent, but LeBlanc is playing 2 copies in case indeed the double losses will banish it. And let's see now if here Federico will be able to put up on the field both the Shangri-La alongside with the double losses and the Arise Heart.
Yeah, just considering their options at the moment, as mentioned, we're gonna see a few more mills, but they are both used to this matchup. Federico, most importantly, now is basically showing some translations to Christopher, as most of Federico cards are in Italian. And we can say Christopher is obviously an accomplished player, but has been playing more against the mirror match than Kashtira. And now we get to see the Fenrir, which actually changes things significantly.
Yeah.
Because if Christopher is able to access a fusion such as Kid Kalos, he also has to keep in mind that he can get banished by the Fenrir.
Yeah, now he's going for the Kalbeck.
Yeah. Let's see these 5 meals from Christopher. The first 2 not so great, but it does hit an Avnis and a Shayrin. Okay, this changes significantly the rest of this turn. He needed to hit something, and he ate 3 useful cards, we can say, because he's gonna get the Saliek for next turn, and he can get into some fusion summons, but he has to keep in mind that the Fenrir is there. Yeah, thinking about his chain links here, let's see if he's able to play around what his opponent is putting up on the board. But yeah, this is the time where you can afford to mill, as once a Rizard hits the field, it's essentially a walking macrocosmos, which makes your life really hard.
Yeah. And I have to say, Christopher was really looking for some of these good meals, and luckily for him,
yeah,
he did meal some of them.
Absolutely, really good meals. Now, as mentioned, he gets the Saliek back to the end and gonna go for the first fusion summon. It looks like it would be the Mad Dragon. And yeah, it is. So Mad Dragon hits the field, making potentially some of his cards not targetable. And gonna go for a Kid Kalos.
And this is very powerful because we have seen this weekend that Kashtira players usually go to banish the Mad Dragon,
yeah,
when playing against Tearlaments.
Yeah, the issue is that also Fenrir does target, and if you go for this line here, then you have to use the Mad Dragon, turning it into a Dark Monster, and this way they cannot target it in the new chain. Let's see if this is what will happen here, but the thing is, Christopher has already activated a monster effect, so he does get the chance to not use the Mad Dragon. So he will probably lose the Kid Kalos. Can we check how many copies he's playing? Because that's obviously...
2 Kid Kalos, yeah.
2, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So Christopher playing 2 copies of Kid Kalos. Federico doesn't know yet, but if he goes to access a Diabolosis, he can get rid of the entirety of the Kid Kalos for the rest of this game 1.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that that will be the solution to go for.
Absolutely, and Federico is keeping his composure, as you can see here, locking yet another zone from Christopher, even though he's facing a lot of really good mills. But yeah. Here our judge is just talking about some chain links, it seems. And yeah, after the Rhino Art is summoned, he gets to lock the same zone he meant to. Let's see what he sends from the top. It's a Merly. Okay, so he can go for yet another fusion summon, which could be the Kaleido Art, I would say. Yeah, so he's gonna use both. I think he already used all of the names, right, at this point? Because he went for double fusion, and then this is gonna be the third fusion.
Yeah.
And he also used the Kashtira Tearlaments.
Yeah, you use all of them. Yeah,
pretty much this is just gonna be a card you send to shuffle back to summon the Kaleido Art. And this will be what most likely Christopher will go for. Obviously gonna think a bit about his options. And he's still holding pretty much on a 5-card end. Because he milled a lot of the +1 spell and traps.
Yeah, but this is pretty strong because basically with the Kalbeck being milled at the beginning of the
And as expected, we get the Kaleido Art, so he can shuffle back something. Gonna take a hard think, and it's probably the Shangri-La, so he gets his zones back. And yeah, that's the target. Apparently, he's gonna go for the Kaleido Heart. Federico thinking a bit about it. He might have a copy of Triple Tactics Thrust or the Talent, because he's main decking both. And that could be a good way to stay in this game one. But yeah, this can just show you how much a single Avnis can do, just like it did in the previous top 8 match. Here we get to see the Arise Art finally coming down from Federico. That's what you need to start from if you have opened this matchup. And Prosperity, okay. With this Prosperity, he's obviously gonna try and look for one of these Triple Tactics cards.
Yeah.
Let's see if he decides to banish 3 or 6. Regardless, it will trigger the Arise Art, because this is the great synergy of the deck with these pot cards. Is it 3? I can't quite tell. You just put all of them together, and yeah. LeBlanc just checking everything. The end seems nothing too out of the ordinary. So let's see these cards being revealed. Definitely looking for Triple Tactics, either Thrust or Talent, but he's gonna take his chance to probably turn this into a Dark Monster just to protect the Kaleido Art further from the Arise Art, probably destroying it. Let's see, this is crucial. It comes down to this, and it's already the Talent. So Talent, great reveal here potentially by Federico, who is gonna take his time to go through his options, but it does seem like a great one nonetheless. You can still take the Kaleido as it does not target, and yeah, it is. It's exactly what Federico was looking for. He finds it, and this changes the game significantly. First of all, you get to put something else for the Arise Art, as it was banished, and now let's see what he gets. So that's exactly what is going on here. He gets a second material on the Arise Art. Yeah, gonna just show a translation to the card, I guess, but not that it does anything relevant here. And with the Talent, he can take away one of the monsters from Christopher and then basically get to a third XYZ material, which is great, because then you get to pop one for free, you get even more materials, and this is the power of Arise Art.
Yeah, this is good news. With the Prosperity honestly being activated,
it's a great pickup.
Yeah. And we have to say, though, that this is the very first turn of the match.
Yeah,
and,
what a way to start things off, right? 12 minutes down the line, and this is turn 1. So, crazy, crazy start.
Let's see here now what Federico decides to go for. I think it will make a lot of sense to use the Talent here just to take one of Christopher Monster, which might be, of course, the Kaleido Heart.
And there he goes. He's gonna activate the Talent, but instead decides to take a look at his opponent's hand. Apparently he feels like he can already deal with what's in front of him and wants to make sure that next turn win is under his belt. This might be a very unnecessary risk from the Italian, but I'm pretty sure he knows better than all of us how to pilot this deck, as he is the only Kashtira player left in competition. So I'm gonna trust him on this one, and as expected, now you get a material back. And you get the Big Bang as expected, so well played. Now you can go once again for this Arise Art that finally is able to target a card and banish it face down. Obviously, Mad Dragon and Kaleido Heart are not options, but he can use it on Rhino Heart. And that's what's gonna happen, I think.
Yeah, he gets rid of it. Yeah.
He knows it, so that's what's going on. So now the Arisart once again gonna get a card back under itself. And here comes even, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
This
We
is
fought,
good stuff.
yeah, it's definitely great. The birth, such a strong card. We mentioned how not only does it allow you to normal summon without tributes, but every turn it's up there, you get an extra monster from either the graveyard or the banished zone. And this does so much. Here though, Christopher is gonna use his shuffler to send all of the monsters back.
Yeah, I think it makes sense because they were all level 7s. So
Yeah.
at least, because I think he only has in his banished zone the Rysart.
So now I think Federico gets to equip something because of the
Yeah.
banished Mudora and gets to summon back the Rysart from the banished zone.
But he has to attach one for the Mudora. Yeah, correct. And he is attaching. Yeah, the big
And he
bang.
does. So he attaches from the banished Mudora as expected, and Rysart is essentially back to being free materials, which
Yeah.
is huge. And now finally, after 16 minutes of just the first turn of this semi-final, it seems as if we are approaching the end of the turn. What a start to this semi-final it was. Wow.
Yeah.
And yeah, finally Chris, after playing for so long, is gonna have his own turn. Not that he didn't play during his opponents, honestly, but let's see. It comes down to this turn, whether he's able to break the board. Most importantly, this Rysart. But there is a metaverse, which is huge for multiple reasons. First of all, it puts the third material under the Rysart, and this is why Christopher is gonna use this Mud Dragon right away to protect itself and Kaleido.
This is very, very good because basically now here with the metaverse we will see the Necro Valley being activated. Good stuff. Yeah, and now the Rysart will put another card as a material.
Absolutely. Now you get one more material on this Rysart, and with Necro Valley on the field, it won't be an easy task for Christopher LeBlanc to get out of this situation. Especially because, of course, now he's not going to be able to use the Fenrir, as he would be forced to target one of his cards. But as soon as Christopher goes for something else, an option opens up. Now he normal summons. This could easily turn into an XYZ to go for Zeus. And this is exactly what's going on. Baguska, the terribly tired tapir, as we have learned in the quiz, and I'm not gonna forget it anymore, is summoned and will now allow Christopher to try and come back into this game. Great, great stuff here by the American player. As we can tell now, the Baguska, which we usually see in defense position, is quite annoying when summoned in attack position because it cannot be destroyed by opponent card effects or targeted. So this makes it so that you can use it easily for Zeus, as we all know. And yeah, it seems like he will be able to crush now instead. As the protection from Mud Dragon is gone, Rysart is able to get rid of this Kaleidoscope and then put a material back. But this is exactly what LeBlanc wanted, as he's gonna attack over one of his opponent monsters and then make a Zeus to clear the entire field. And there comes the Zeus. Let's see, he's gonna detach two to try and clear the whole board. Yeah, those go banished, and unless there is a response here, LeBlanc managed to fight back into this game 1 and clear all of his opponent fields. And there it goes. So
yeah.
all field is gone from Federico. Zeus completely punishing the Italian player. And now in main phase 2, Christopher will try to just combo off a little bit.
Yeah, he's activating now, Christopher, the Tearlaments, Kashtira in his hand, and wow, once again.
Okay, gonna mill. Wow. So not only a name, but he also mills Aguido, which means 5 more cards being sent from both players top of the deck to the graveyards, and this is just so much advantage. Yeah.
Let's see what he mills. Yeah, there's also the Merli, which honestly...
Merli again, not that it matters much what Federico is sending to the graveyard, but yeah, he will now go into a first and a second fusion summon while at the same time shutting your opponent from coming back. I think there is one hope remaining probably in the one copy of Evenly Matched from Federico. And now, yeah, they're just quickly gonna check the order, probably because some cards were upside down while sending them from the top of the graveyard to the deck. But in the meantime, I would say we can go quickly back to us. While they fix the state. Yeah. And just as we were expecting, the start of this match was a great one nonetheless, with both players giving it their best and trying to combo off. The very first turn lasted 16 minutes with Federico trying to play, but a single Avnis from Christopher basically shutting him down, or rather allowing him to go through so many different plays. It is something that, of course, now we are used to seeing from the Tearlament deck.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise. We saw it in the top 4 when it seems as if Flowanderies was going to advance to the top 4 in the top 8 match. But then a single desperate mill from Tearlament Kashtira was enough, because it eventually ended up hitting both Kelbeck and Aguido, sending 10 cards, and you know, there is no coming back from there. This was somewhat similar, with the difference that the Italian kept more of his advantage. It seems as if he could get back into the... But the MVP was Mad Dragon, because he protected Kaleido, and at the same time it allowed to go for Baguska, which is just as protected as Mad Dragon, and then the Zeus completely clearing the board is definitely a huge issue when it comes down to these kind of situations, and it's never easy to fight back in a spot like this. As we mentioned, these two are very different players, or rather both very good players, but with drastic different backgrounds. On the one hand, Christopher LeBlanc coming all the way from the US, and one of the few 4 times YCS winners we have. So of course experienced at future matches, experienced to play in front of a crowd. Although, talking from the man himself, he said that here in Europe the situation is quite different. We have much larger crowds, and it's quite different to play with all of these people supporting and rooting for you. On the other hand, though, Federico, it's his first future match, so that can get nerve-wracking, and when it does, it's definitely something that you have to keep in mind, because it can be nerve-wracking playing in the top 4 of YCS already. Playing on stream, even more.
Yeah, I mean, you can feel the tension, basically. I mean, especially because if you are playing against someone who has won a YCS 4 times. So he's super experienced at these stages. And honestly, I think that the way Federico played, he played very well, honestly. With the meal that Christopher had during the turn, he couldn't have done anything else, basically.
But our players are ready. We can just go back. They quickly checked with the head judge, and there was just a minor penalty for Christopher, nothing to worry about. And we can continue the turn with his fusion summons. First of all, we get to see this Avnis turn into potentially a Kid Kalos as he is playing 2 copies of the card.
Yeah.
That's super relevant in this matchup because we know how Unicorn and Diablosis look at your extra deck and get rid of a card. And this is exactly what's going on. So Christopher will continue in this Memphis 2 with the Kid Kalos now able to access some of these cards. He will activate its effect, then chain one of the shufflers so that he can guarantee adding the Meta Noise back to his hand, which is definitely a really, really good play, and is the only player I've seen this weekend, at least until now, using the Meta Noise.
Yeah, I think it's one of the very few playing it. I think this card was more popular before, but now with Saldiak being played, he decided to go just for one Saldiak and one Meta Noise
But Federico has seen enough. He picks up his cards, and it is Christopher who wins game 1. Again, what a way to start this. Christopher losing the die roll, but still on the backtrack was able to just get some huge mills and win the game. Now, let's take a look at these side decks. What do you think will happen now that Federico once again starts his match?
Well, honestly, the deck is already built to play against Tearlaments. Indeed, looking at his side deck, I think he is more prepared for other kind of matchups.
Okay.
As the deck, it is already prepared enough for the Tearlaments matchup in the main deck. So I don't really think that you really want to side a lot of cards in.
Okay.
Looking at the side deck, honestly, I mean, there are the judgments, for example, but I don't think that... honestly,
yeah, I mean, you can side them just in case. There is a Q combo in the deck with the Corruptor Ibli.
yeah.
Maybe we'll see that in action as well. Sometimes it's for other matchups. Sometimes it can be played here. So we'll see Federico what he decides to do. But on the other hand, Christopher, who in the main deck had to adapt, has quite a few options in the side deck. We know, and we talked about how he came here with some other of his friends, such as Molina, who also topped with Kashtira. So I want to bet that they tested together, and I think the side deck really shows.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of different options. Once again, Triple Tactics Trust is in the side deck of our player. There's the Nibiru that against Kashtira, it's incredible, honestly. So we will soon see the Nibiru. He also has, you know, 3 copies of Book of Eclipse.
And also, yeah, Artifact Lancia, which honestly has been quite underwhelming for a lot of these duelists against Kashtira. But I have to say, most of it was because we have seen Kashtira players siding Sanctum and Barrier. This is not the case for Federico, so maybe this Lancia will be much better.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, our duelists are pretty much ready and settled for game 2, so let's go to the table. And here it is, once again, Christopher obviously open to draw this Avnis, going second in this matchup, while Federico honestly had a really good end. Whenever you see the Unicorn, you're happy, and obviously Shifter or some other ways can help, but Planet is just as good to open things up. This can get you the Unicorn, and it does. So solid start by the Italian.
And I think we might be seeing something that Federico tried to do in the first game of the match, in which basically then the Ovnis resolved and the game took another direction. But here, yeah, pretty much the same start that we had in game 1, in which Federico added the Birth with Unicorn. And here comes the Birth, and he will use it to normal summon. Let's see, he has the Fenrir.
Yeah, he does have the Fenrir. So great start of the game here by Federico, who adds every single card he wants to open up with a huge combo. And once again, it's up to LeBlanc, but it's also up to Nibiru. Will Federico play around it? Will he risk it? Has it seen it from LeBlanc? For now, we'll see the obvious Shangri-La. that we have seen multiple times over again. Yeah.
Third summon, by the way.
Yeah, keeping track of the summons. We are now on the third. And this is the fourth summon, which means that from the next one on, Nibiru is an option for LeBlanc. Let's see. Because now we're going to get to the fifth just here with the Big Bang. So if there is another one from LeBlanc, then Nibiru would be devastating in this spot.
Yeah.
And he's only playing Chu, by the way, which is fair to say, I would say. Yeah. And here, as expected, the Fenrir comes up. Now Nibiru is active, so we have to keep this in mind. For now, it doesn't seem like Christopher is interested in interacting with this field. But now our Ice Art will come to the field. Yep. So we see the Ice Art, and now things get interesting. For now, there is no Avnis, and it's too late to go for Avnis, but the Nibiru is still an option. Let's see, he can still technically wait. We'll see, obviously, even the Theosis. So
this is a very, very good start,
the
honestly.
best start of the deck. Because this can get you to number 89.
Best start that the deck can ask for, honestly, because here Federico can really go for the Diablosis, look up at Christopher extra deck and getting rid of one of his extra deck monster. Ideal start. Yeah.
Yeah. Not only that, he can use both. So as you can see here, is there gonna be the Nibiru from Christopher? There is the Nibiru coming down, I think. Let's see. Yeah, there is. Only 2 copies, and he does open up the Nibiru. Wow. This is called. Okay, the shifter coming down from his opponent to at least stay in this. But this Nibiru is so strong from LeBlanc.
Yeah, this hurts a lot. We saw this coming, honestly, and here Federico loses all of his monsters.
Yeah, this is huge. But the token is gonna be the thickest token I have ever seen, I think. So strong. Yeah, they're gonna count the attack and defense of the token. But this is so huge. Yeah. Yep, just gonna read the Big Bang, which is not really gonna do much.
But I think he couldn't activate the shifter though, right?
Yeah. Couldn't activate the shifter. Yeah. And yeah, as you can see here, the Nibiru coming down. As shifter, similarly to other cards, says that it has to be sent, not discarded, and therefore cannot be used in this spot. But yeah, this Nibiru is so strong. From the
it changes everything basically, because once again Federico played it well, and he tried his best, but once again Christopher had the right answer at the right moment.
Yeah, 7900 attack token. As mentioned, one of the biggest tokens I've ever seen, but I doubt that it will stay there for much longer. Unless there is something that Federico can do. Here is where those cards like Sanctum and Barrier could have been strong.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it seems as if that shifter might cost him the game, because he was kind of being greedy with it, keeping it. If he would have used it here at the beginning, maybe he could get this game down.
Yeah. I think if you see shifter, you just use it right away. Without
yeah, but now at least he will try to stay in this as much as he can, using the birth toss to summon back. Okay, so he goes for the Kashtira Tearlaments. So this is still decent by Federico. as he has access to a rank 7. And yeah, he will go for it into another Shangri-La. But definitely a shame that he didn't use the shifter before.
Yeah. It could cost him the game, honestly.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Christopher is now in a great spot. He even had the Lightning Storm, which he cannot use at the moment because of Nibiru. But he's just gonna take a look at his card. During the standby phase, it will be used to summon back from the deck another Kashtira. But yeah. Let's see. So Federico will use the effect of Shangri-La most likely.
Yeah, in the standby phase, he'll be able to bring on the field another Kashtira. Let's see if Christopher is considering it. He has the Ovnis.
Wow. He gets the Ovnis as well. We don't know if from the top or if he already have any mills the cat back the Scream. Wow. This is as good as he gets for Christopher. Getting rewarded by choosing, as mentioned, and probably playtesting against Kashtira. I felt as if he needed the Nibiru. It still kind of surprises me that a card like Nibiru is a chew-off and not a free-off. But for now, he will obviously get rewarded by this in a new chain. He will be able to use Kelbeck and Scream. And let's see if there is a response from Federico. Really a shame about that shifter, because all of this would not be possible if he would have used the shifter at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. We said that when saying shifter, maybe he was a little bit greedy.
Yeah, you can just shotgun it, we say. But this wasn't obviously the case. And yeah, now just gonna take a look at this deck, get a trap card, which I couldn't quite tell what it was, and now we're gonna see these 5 mills. Let's see, Perle Rhino, Talent, Lancia, and there are 2 cards which are really good, which are the Shireen and the Rhino. So yeah, this is looking pretty promising, and we can see the Ibli as expected getting sent from the deck to the graveyard by Federico.
And here Christopher is considering it, because basically now, yeah, there's the bird that is on the field. The planet has been already activated this turn.
Just gonna go through what he has already done, but as you can tell now, he's gonna use both to fusion summon. And has to just be careful about this Fenrir. Okay. I see an instant fusion as well in the end from Christopher. Let's see. And there it comes.
Yeah.
So instant fusion coming down from Christopher, really debating about his options here. He has Merly as well, so he's gonna start things off with Merly. So gonna use its effect. Let's see what he's gonna send off the top of his deck. It is another Kelbeck and 2 Book of Eclipses, so kind of a whiff here by LeBlanc, who has quite a few options if this Fenrir does not activate. And yeah, it seems as if it does not. So Federico not using the Fenrir there.
Keeping it for the next game.
Yeah, if there was gonna be one. And yeah, here the sprint is most likely the option, just sending another Merly from his deck to the graveyard to just access a fusion summon. And that's exactly what's going on. So sprint allowing LeBlanc to go for a fusion summon before having to commit to the instant fusion.
And I think it makes sense, honestly. You just use it and then wait to activate the instant fusion later on.
Yeah, and just as our duelists are going through the top 4, the other semi-final has been decided. So the first finalist of YCS Lyon 2023 is Anthony Lopez. So who will join us with his Tearlaments deck in the finals and will meet one of these 2 players. As we can see here, Christopher is pretty much free to do whatever he wants.
Still wondering when Defender will be activated from Federico.
Yeah, he's debating his options at the moment. And he has finally used it on the Kit Kalos. Yeah, so Fenrir is activated and now he will shut down a zone as well from his opponent, which is the one Sprint is pointing to. But we still see a lot of different options. There is the instant fusion as he's playing 2 copies of Kit Kalos, and he will go for the Shireen. Let's take a look at this 3 mills. Another Book of Eclipse and a Shireen sent from the top to the graveyard. So kind of a whiff as well. And you can see him not being too happy about this. He is forced now to commit to the instant fusion.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of mixed feeling applause coming from the crowd as this instant fusion is revealed, because it seemed as if LeBlanc was out of place, but you know, instant fusion is arguably the best Tearlaments card there is.
And here once again, one of the main reasons why we said the Mad Dragon, usually it's the card that the Diablosis really wants to banish. It's because here once again Christopher could try and go for the Zeus play.
Yeah, it's definitely an option. As Zeus won him game 1, he's gonna try and do the exact same thing once again, clearing the 7900 token and the rest of this field with a Zeus. Yeah, you can see Federico smiling, kind of shaking his head at the moment. And yeah, this is exactly what's going to happen. Christopher enters battle phase, it seems like, attacking over the Fenrir, debating his options, I guess. But yeah, the Zeus will just be so strong in this instance. And by the way, there are 7 minutes remaining.
Yeah.
Which obviously changed the way Top Cut is being played, but for now, all you need to know is that it would work as in the Swiss rounds. So these 1000 life points that LeBlanc has taken could actually cost him the game.
Yeah. Yeah, we will soon find out if there will be actually a game 3, because once again here Christopher is holding on into his Zeus play.
Yeah, because now he takes even more. He goes for the Zeus, sets 1 because he wants to activate that Tearlaments card again. And once again, the Zeus making its appearance. Well played by Christopher, recognizing the situation. But let's see if there is going to be a response from Federico. It's the Big Bang as we knew. And yeah, just going to get rid of a lot of the field. Tough one. Nonetheless, as you can see here, the whole board is nuked. And as there are around 5 minutes remaining, Christopher is 1600 life points down. And to be fair, if he does not make a good board after this Zeus, I think Federico is in a great spot to come back. Let's see if the Italian can find anything to get out of this situation.
Because now with 2 cards left in hand, he really needs anything. A Fenrir or Unicorn. Let's see. Or a Planet.
And it's Prosperity, so a great way to start things off. So many cards that Federico can find from the top of his deck to surprisingly take this game. And you can see Christopher shaking his head. And now this is a crucial moment, because with 4 minutes remaining, if Christopher, first of all, let's see if he found
No way.
Wow. Oh, wow. This has been an anticlimactic ending nonetheless. Let's go back to us. What a way to end this semi-final. And what a semi-final it was. We mentioned Federico going up against huge name after huge name and knocking all of them down. And then here in the semi-final against Chris LeBlanc, 4-time YCS champion. And he had it all. He tried his best. Game 1 went first. He had a pretty solid end, but in the end, he fell victim to the Abnis just getting out of too much advantage. Game 2. That was also quite problematic. It seems as if he had a solid opening, but then a little misstep with a shifter. But most importantly, 2 copies of Nibiru in LeBlanc deck. He picks one of them up. It seems as if it would have been over on the spot, but Federico kept his composure. He tried his way to stay into this game and actually came up with a really strong board, which in the end, after a Zeus from LeBlanc, who was left top decking, Federico had 2 cards. He activates Pot of Prosperity. There are 4 minutes remaining, and I was about to say, should Chris just pick up his card because of the scatter shot? Yeah. Which I think is what we should ask him. Was he considering just picking up his cards? Because I know I would, just with the time alone, to win in game 3. Because otherwise in Top Cut, you get to roll a die to decide who goes first. Regardless, guys, it was a pleasure being with you. This was the last match that me and Alberto will do commentary on for YCS Lyon. So as always, thank you a lot for the support. See you as soon as ever. But before the ceremony, we want to find out who the champion will be. So Ed, let's hear it from you and Christopher.
Thank you very much, Marcello. Thank you for all you guys have done this weekend. You guys have been wonderful. I am here with Chris, who has just won that top 4 match and is now in the final. Congratulations. You have been a YCS champion 4 different times, and you're now heading towards your 5th. How are you feeling right now?
I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous right now.
Really?
that game definitely got my nerves like on edge. Just everything about it, from the shifter, from like having to wait to use my Nibiru like the whole turn to see if like I was losing like up to that point. Game 1, like it was a stressful match, but you know I'm ready for the final.
Well, I should hope so, because that's where you're going next. You've made your way all the way up there, going through the plays. A lot of the Baguska Zeus scooping in the first game, second game. You know, build a reasonably good field with shifter, but you know, Nibiru, like you said, you really waited on that. So did you plan for Kashtira when you were building your deck? I know everyone looks at it differently, probably already planned for the tier mirror, but did you plan much for Kashtira?
I'm not gonna lie, I just read some of the cards for the first time in top 4, so.
Really?
I just knew that my friends told me, they're like, yeah, Baguska will auto win most of the time, Nibiru, all this stuff. I kind of just like made plays based on like what I thought would like you know where there's the struggle points would be for the matchup. So I kind of just, you know, like freestyled it, I feel like.
I mean, it went well. You ended up with that Baguska and Zeus in both games, and both led you to victory. So congratulations. We're going to give you a little bit of time to just, you know, decompress before you then get into that final. But congratulations. Here's hoping you get that top 5th, you know. The 5th YCS would be amazing, but you've got 1 more match to go before that gets sealed. Guys, don't go anywhere. We've got that final coming up soon. But first, a short quiz before, you know, we get into the big event. Don't go anywhere.